Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, it's Jackie Cation, and you are listening to The Dork Forest. The website's JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com if you like a determiner. Let's do the credits. Patrick Brady's going to fix this audio and video. Vilmos works on JackieCation.com, and Mike Rickberg sang the song with his wife, Sarah. He composed it, and he will sing his version of the Mexican hat dance at the end of this show. Thank you so much for listening to The Dork Forest. Here's a scoop. I'm doing stand-up online. A lot of Zoom shows will eventually go back on the road. Sign up for my email list. It's easy to get off. It's harder to get on than it is to get off. And no harm, no foul. If ever bored, JackieCation.com, sign up for the email list. You'll find out about my weekly Zoom shows and stand up on the road eventually. You may donate to the show if you would like. I would like. Sure, I would. There's PayPal, Jackie at JackieCation.com, and there is a PayPal button on both DorkForest.com and JackieCation.com. And there's Venmo, if you like Venmo, Jackie-Cation, oddly enough. If you have listened to all of the shows, go to dorkforest.bandcamp.com, I think. The Dork Forest has a Bandcamp page. You can listen to a lot of ones that are free from pre-2009 when I started pre-recording. And then there's live episodes that cost me a couple of bucks, so I charge you a couple of bucks. There's also some stand-up. There's a story album that's very exciting there. And other than that, I have a lot of merch in my garage. Feel free to order if you know anybody who doesn't have any CDs or the DVD. And you can follow me everywhere at Jackie Cation. Let's get into the show. Hi, Jackie Cation here. Welcome to the Dork Forest. I'm in my garage. And today's guest is Holly Anabel Brown. One N. Holly Anabel Brown is a stand-up comic and is on Twitter at It's Holly Brown, is on Instagram on Holly Brown Comedy. It's spelled Holly Brown. You guys could get this. I believe in both of you. All of you, Rangers. And then you have a podcast that I did, which is called Well, Actually, which is the a nerd actually experience as well. And that was super fun. Did I talk about Miss Fisher?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. We really got into it.
Yeah, we all got turned on to. I seriously, it was in the darkest time of the pandemic for me, and I asked on Twitter what I should watch, and I was given that, and I now own 14 of the books, and I've given away the DVD set to someone I'm almost certain is not going to watch it, and that kind of it burns a little bit.
But like, do you ever think about those moments and know, okay, I probably did that one time about something too?
Yes. People have given me things that I've, and you're like, well, just you lit $50 on fire. It's fine.
Yeah.
Start making more money. So
just Venmo request them at, one random moment in life.
Right. Or drive it back over from South Pasadena, fancy pants. How about that? And so I will say this, Holly Brown, we are going to talk about something. This is the third episode in a row. This is a very quarantine kind of moment because this is the third episode in a row that's about a TV series.
Oh.
Yeah, we did one about The Wire. The last one I recorded was about the TV show MASH.
Well, I feel like it was almost chronological if we did MASH, Frasier, Wire.
Right, because you're into the Kelsey Grammar Frasier experience.
Yes, I am.
Which I saw some of that. I think I watched the first 3 seasons. How many seasons were there?
There are 12 seasons.
And there are 12 seasons of Frasier.
And it's like the back in the day when you would have a 26 episode run, 25 episode run. So it's the best kind of bingeable content now.
Sure.
Because I feel like now, content that's coming out now in 10 years, people are going to look back and be like, oh, I finished that in a day. Whereas Frasier, it takes you weeks.
Right. There is because they're 22-minute episodes. Yeah. And so, but 7 seasons, that's almost 200 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Wait, 12 seasons. That's more than 200 episodes. Hi, math. So yeah, that's which is amazing for syndication and amazing for Writers Guild pension, which I've just found out about. I myself don't have it, but it sounds like a really good idea for people who are in the scoop. So, what year did it start? Do you remember?
It started in 93. You know what? I have like an odd history with Frasier because my memories of Frasier are not necessarily chronological because my dad worked on the TV show.
Right.
He was.
You told me that. What was he?
He was the set dresser. So it was not like he was an aspiring actor, got into behind the scenes stuff, then became a set dresser. And Frasier was on, I'm almost not certain it's 1993. So I was born 92.
Right. And what does a set dresser, that seems like it explains itself. But why don't we unpack it?
Naked, and then I just, he started he truly got it, moved his way up in behind the scenes stuff, and set dresser is the one that curates every item. So he works directly with the set decorator, and the set decorator designs everything, and my dad gets all of it, or would get all of the items.
Okay, so sort of gathered, shopped, created, and did whatever needed to be done. He
would work with the set director, so they often would design it together based on what my dad knew of what was available. And I know we have way too many items of the Frasier household in my home. And
oh, that's funny because I'm sure. Wow, there's a retirement plan as well. Holy smokes.
I'm holding on to it. I don't, I'm a stand-up. You get that.
Right. I mean, eventually you're like, I don't know. Have you ever wanted this? Frasier's ass touched it. It was royalty. And so Frasier comes from Cheers, right?
Yes. Yeah. He was the one that got the offshoot of a show from Cheers. And he was also, I would argue, the one on Cheers you would never expect to get its own show, because he's not like charming Ted Danson ladies man. He's very I'm gonna literally Tennessee Williams loving, sit back and drink a hot cup of tea.
Right. He's the opera, sort of the intelligentsia dude.
He's condescending. Let's just be real. He's a prick.
But I mean, who else were you going to give it to? Norm? Not unless Norm sobered up. Yeah. And and then it just became a show about him going to meetings. And then it would, him and what's his face? The other guy.
Oh man, Cliff. Yes.
Yeah, and then there's the.
What's her name? Rita? No. What is it? What's her character's name? I think that might be her
actual name. And married to Danny DeVito, and people are shouting it. They know it. But that show was just about her, going through anger management classes
and having endless amounts of children, also while drinking the entire time.
Right. And then yeah. So Frasier has Lilith.
Yes.
And we never do we see Lilith in the show again? In Frasier,
Frasier? Sporadically, not often. That's one of those classic TV sitcom things where you're like, oh, you were married and had a kid, and you're somehow a good dad when you see your kid once every 5 years.
Yeah. Bill Dwyer, stand-up comic, great. Did a golf episode of The Dork Forest. Used to do a joke about how nobody loves their kids more than a divorced dad. He loves them every other weekend and for 3 hours on Wednesdays. And
or if you're Frasier, it's for 22 minutes once a year.
Right. Then you're just like, he's the most important thing in my life. And you're like, I don't think so. I think, and then, so it's essentially, he's living with his dad. Him and his dad are living together in Seattle. There is some sort of caretaker who is beloved by the guy who plays his brother.
Yes. Niles is his brother, and Daphne is the caretaker because his dad got shot. He was a cop. He got shot in the line of duty and is having trouble, walking around and doing, by all accounts, he can get shit done by himself, but Daphne's cute as hell. So
Right. We need some sort of anything.
yeah.
And it's essentially, it's mostly about, and he has a radio show.
A talk radio show with that, a self-help like Dr. Phil for psychiatrists.
Right. It's like, because he's an actual,
And it's so wildly popular, this radio show, that he's a celebrity. And it is and only like eventually it gets nationally syndicated on the show, but the show starts out where it's only locally syndicated, but he is still like a huge celebrity.
Wow. Like he's huge in Seattle.
Oh, gets like recognized, free coffees out the butt. Yeah.
Sex in the City, like famous, like on the side of buses and stuff. And,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's okay. So here's the setup. And then there were characters. There was like a shock jock, Joe Rogan-y kind of dude.
Yeah, the Bulldog.
Bulldog
is his name.
And it makes sense. And then there was
his producer.
His producer, who was a woman.
Roz.
Mm-hmm. This episode is just going to be you jogging my memory.
But then later on, you're going to remember, like, you'll remember Rita's name on Cheers, and it'll all come full circle.
Full circle. So who were your favorite characters on Frasier? What do you... Yeah.
So as a child, none of them.
Oh, yeah. So you have this very unique situation. Did you go on set?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, my dad, since I was 1, I had little to no connection with the show other than I was like, oh, these guys are fancy pantses. And I remember being forced to watch it because it was on... it was competing in the ratings with Seinfeld. I think they were on the same network, but they were still always trying to like outdo Seinfeld with ratings. Okay. And so my dad would like send me to school and he'd be like, tell your friends' parents to watch Frasier, go. And I hated it because I was forced to watch it when I was a kid. And it was also way above my head.
Right. It's not really made for the 6 to 9-year-old in the world. And was he pointing out the whole time? I see that hat over there? I placed that hat.
He would you could, back in the day, you couldn't like stop the show and pause it. So afterwards he would be like, man, let me tell you about how hard it was to get that piano or something. And, funny story about the piano, though. My brother dated a girl. He's a little bit younger than me. He dated a girl, and his girlfriend, completely unrelated, to Frasier. Her parents happened to buy the piano on Frasier, just like in their life.
They needed a piano, and they
loved Frasier, and they were very wealthy and bought it. And then I was over one day, and I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
We have some props sitting around the house, but they're all from Xena the Warrior Princess.
Oh, geez.
So, because Andy went to a prop sale. So, so you're a small child. You're 12 when it's canceled, when it's done, when the finale happens.
Absolutely.
So were you dragged to parties where Kelsey Grammar and all these people are hanging out?
I was, as much as they could bring, only to the ones that they would bring children at. Like, I so wish I was older when this happened. I
don't know. Kelsey Grammar seems like a bit of an elbow squeezer to me.
Oh, man, I got stories about Kelsey, let me tell you. But he would do the big thing that he would do every year was host a Halloween party for all the Frasier crew and cast.
Oh,
and
cool.
I have such vivid memories of this. I actually have a picture. This is me. Kelsey's in the robe. He's dressed as a ghoul. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, there you are.
I'm the little one in the grumpy princess costume.
Grumpy princess costume.
But he would do huge Halloween parties, and I remember those the most out of anything. But
okay.
I remember David Hyde Pierce, who plays Niles, was the nicest human alive. Like,
just super sweet to the kids,
so
and just
nice.
Just politely just answering question after question, probably not wanting to hang out with his coworkers. That's exactly how I picture that guy. Just awesome.
Yeah.
Have you rewatched them from in adulthood?
Absolutely. So, I mean, not to get sad, but like right after Frasier ended almost a year after to the day my dad got cancer. And then he had a very, he had a really good career in the entertainment industry that just went away because he got cancer, couldn't work anymore. He had a battle with cancer for 8 years. He lost it. He has since passed, but it wasn't until after he died that I watched Frasier, like actually watched it.
Oh, wow. And now you're 22, 23.
Yeah. And I texted my siblings and I was like, did you guys know? Did you know how fucking good Frasier is? And they're all like, yeah, we knew, Holly. Everybody knows. It won all the Emmys.
It won a lot of Emmys. It's true. What I'm so sorry about your dad. That's very sad. And but so when you watch it, and you get to see his name in the credits and do you remember certain props, like him talking about those props when you were a kid and you're like, there it is. There's that flute. I mean, there's that weird wine glass.
I recognize furniture from my home. Like,
oh God.
I would look and I can't, furnitures all have weird names. They're like, that's a veranda monocle holder. You're like, what the hell is that? But like,
that's not real.
It is something Frasier Crane would have.
Very much so. Very much so. So he got to keep the stuff?
So after the show ended, I walked out in our backyard one day and there was mountains of stuff, mountains of props from Frasier in our backyard. Mm-hmm. And, I can't ask my dad now, like, why the fuck did you bring it all to our home? But he said to my sister and I and my brother, take something, take whatever you want. Right. And I took two things. I took, and also with stuff from Paramount's lot, not just Frasier. I took an original Star Wars poster, which
okay,
good job, 12-year-old Holly. Mm-hmm. But then I also took, which is very 12-year-old, a payphone that was used on Frasier.
And for some reason, he still, like, it's weird that he, I never think, you would think that would go to the props department. You would think that wouldn't come home with somebody.
I don't know why it did. He could have been stealing it. I have no idea.
Well, that is, of course, the idea that comes to mind where you're like, were you supposed to take that? Like, I always think when, because a friend of mine just got a gig, just got an acting gig, and she was like, man, there's a really nice bra that this woman, that the costume person, and I was like, well, I don't think they can return underwear. Yeah. I think you get that bra when the shoot is over. And she's like, you think? Like, I've been thinking about stealing it. And I was like, for the love of Christ, just ask. And she'll probably say, just take it. And worst case scenario, you'll get where she got it. And then you'll go, because you're a working person, you will get to go and purchase the bra that you clearly are enjoying. And
it's always the shitty celebrities that will just point blank ask to have things and then get it. And then it's the really nice, good people that are like, I don't know, I'm going to wait and see if they give it to me like normal humans do. And then they miss their opportunities.
Right. And somewhere in the middle, you can just ask with politely ask.
Yeah.
Not or don't just steal it. That's just weird, right? It's weird to just walk out the door going, no, I own this shirt now. And because one of the last things I did, there was I can't dress myself. I wear this shirt 3 times a week and I do laundry twice a week. So, it's
a very clean shirt.
It's super clean. It's always clean. But I just think, I don't know. I asked. I said, so can I buy these clothes? Because I don't know how to shop for myself because I'm not good at it. I don't like doing it. And thus I am not good at it. And the woman goes, just take them. And I said, is that okay? And she goes, it's actually more paperwork for you to buy them from the show. And so just take them. And I was like, it led to what essentially is me stealing those clothes with permission.
There you go.
From the costume person. But I bet you production might have been like, well, no, that was $100 worth of clothes or whatever. I mean, they're still not very nice. I mean, I always play some sort of weird schlub. And so, so whatever clothes they are. Anyway.
But you got to sleep well at night knowing that you asked.
I did ask and I did not steal.
There you go.
So that is the win there. Okay, so talk to me about your favorite like characters and episodes. And I mean, why do you, I mean, the thing is, it feels like you love it because it was your dad's.
I mean, it was an innate love from birth, and then it developed into a serious passion as an audience, as a consumer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. How did that happen? What sucked you? What was your first? When did you realize? Oh, I'm watching all of these.
You know, honestly, the first episode, it's so unique. And I think being separated from it, of like not watching it when it's on air, also gives you a different perspective, because when it's on air, you're not questioning like anything. This is what's presented in front of you. But now you're like, how did everyone loved this show, but it is such a like condescending, smart show. But everyone loved it. Like I definitely had questions as an adult. Like how did a middle America even give a absolute shit about this show? But it makes it all the more impressive about how good it is.
Well, right, and I think it's because it's a smart show. It's a funny show, and it's not anything but what it is. Right? It didn't try to dumb it down for anyone, and it didn't try to make it for some mythical flyover state that doesn't get shit. It literally was like, this is the show. You like this character on Cheers. We're going to make this show. That's who this guy is. Hope you like it.
Yeah.
And then everyone loved it. And it's total proof that you can do comedy, that you don't have to dumb down comedy. Like everyone who dumbs down comedy, I'm just like, you're exhausting me. Because everyone gets cable. Everyone has a library. You know, we can all look shit up. We have the internet. Yeah.
It reminds me weirdly of the show Superstore. Have you seen Superstore?
No, but I heard that that's super smart, but kind of dumb as well.
You know, I think it's like incredibly smart, because I also think people are really impressive when they can write dumb, like they can smartly write dumb things.
Right.
But it's so smart, but it's set in like a Walmart type thing. And so it actually has a lot of problems. And I wonder if that's like has to do with where people's minds are now. It doesn't do as well as it should because it's set in a Walmart, but it's so smart that middle America can't relate to it in a way.
Well, I think that they're sucker punching themselves when they, like, if you want to set it, like I look back, there was a sitcom. It was nobody's seen it. I mean, you'd have to be 55 years old to even remember what the hell I'm talking about. It was called Alice, and it was about a diner in the South, and it was heartfelt. But it had some caricatures of white Southern folk that was like, well, kiss my grits, and all these like crazy ass. And you're just like, it was in an ostensibly blue collar, very working class, you know, sort of like a Kevin James, you know, and Alice didn't care that you didn't get everything. Because some of it was just real heartfelt and poignant and smart in different ways. And Frasier literally was just like, no, we're going to be a bunch of weird smarty pants that people make fun of. But on that show are normal people like Daphne and Roz.
Exactly. And Martin especially. The dad is like the heart of the show for people to relate to, I think.
Yeah. And it's not that he gets it. You know, he's just like, no, I know. I raised, you know, we were all there. We all know what opera is. You just like it more, you know, and it's, I think it's such a great angle to take on television. Like if you want to set it, because stuff like the UPS Kevin James thing and Home Improvement. And there's certain sort of blue collar sitcoms that that kind of dumbed it down for people. Like Seinfeld didn't dumb it down. Cheers itself didn't dumb it down. You know, they didn't go into some weird encyclopedia.
Yeah, it's like a Home Improvement feels like one step above Full House in terms of family relatability, slightly smarter. But nobody's sitting there really scratching their heads like, man, how did they come up with that?
Right. And it feels like, I mean, if you're writing for kids, I get it. Except for the fact is, I don't know if you've seen Mochi and Waffles and Mochi. It's a show on, I think it's on HBO Max, and it's about, it's Jim Henson puppets. It's a Waffles.
No way.
And Michelle Obama plays the grocer. And it's essentially, they're just 20-minute. It's so freaking funny. It's so written for the appearance.
Yes.
Because Waffles is half Yeti, half waffle. And Mochi is literally a piece of mochi. And they go around and learn about what tomatoes are or what rice is. And Michelle Obama plays the owner of the grocery store. And she has a bee sidekick, a bee puppet sidekick. And it's freaking adorable. And it's made for children, but it isn't dumb.
Yeah.
It isn't dumb at all. It's super smart. And that's, I mean... you could make fun of Frasier because he's a pedant and he's obviously super preachy and, just a bit of a bore, but they're not hiding the fact that you probably know what jazz is.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're so deep and consumed in this like aristocratic, high society world. And they're so right. Like Roz and, Martin and Daphne, they ground it in a way that you're like, okay, yeah, I know those people, and maybe I shouldn't hate on them so much because they're just good people at heart.
Right.
They're nice people. They just
they're trying.
And it is comical, like when they think like there's an episode where Niles is gonna get high for the first time. And he's like, I'm especially excited for this phase called the munchies. And then, and he's like, I've already prepared a Chilean sea bass paired with a Zinfandel. It's so smart because you're relating to your audience and what they would do, but in a, okay, I wouldn't do that kind of
right.
way.
And what do you've never gotten high? You've never heard of the munchies? Come on, Niles, you're killing me. And I have to say that it is fascinating. Yeah, that was sort of the absurdity of it, is that they made Niles and not Frasier so much, because Frasier, does Frasier come from sort of a more, Niles feels the one who's more separated from the day-to-day, or no?
You know what? Yes, a little bit now that you say that. Yeah, but they are so similar. And I would say that Niles actually has more relatable moments with Martin than Frasier does, surprisingly.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's because Niles isn't so conceited, where Frasier is very conceited.
Okay.
So it's like Frasier's confidence borders on ego, like egomaniac, where Niles is not confident, but very smart and likes all the same things as Frasier.
Right. So they feed off of each other. What's a good scene? I can't remember any of the scenes with Niles and his dad.
Oh, there's this. My favorite is there's a Halloween episode where it's Frasier throws a party where all of his friends are there, which means Roz, Niles, Martin, Daphne, and that's it. And Frasier's theme is come dressed as your favorite hero. And so Frasier's dressed as Sigmund Freud because he won't fucking shut up about him.
Oh my God.
Martin is dressed as a baseball player, which tells you a lot about me. I don't know who he is.
Right.
And then Niles comes dressed as Martin, like his dad, which is so cute. And like it's such a moment of that you need as an audience member, because Martin and Niles they're all so different that you crave those father-son moments. And when you get them, it's almost more of a payoff because they're earned. And Niles walks in dressed as Martin, and Martin's like, wait a minute. you were supposed to dress as your hero, not the most handsome man you know. And then they, and then they both share like a laugh in the exact same way that Martin does. And it's just such a beautiful moment. It's heartfelt and funny and it's cute.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great. Are there good scenes with Frasier and his dad? Because I know that they have so many scenes together.
There are, watching Frasier as an adult, having not watched it when it was syndicated and stuff, I wonder if people liked Frasier more then, because I find him to be the least likable on the whole show.
Okay.
I think
just because of his ego and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I'm also just like personally, if you have a big ego, I'm like, get out of my face.
You're probably not that great.
Yeah. I'm like, you have money and an ego. I don't get you. But Niles is so funny, and Niles is to me the best at physical comedy on the whole show. That Niles to me encapsulates what the whole show is, which is like this old-timey comedy of errors meets miscommunication. And that's kind of what every episode is about. And Niles embodies that at every turn, even though he's not the lead. I just think he's the best part of the whole show. Right,
because he's got there are several episodes that he's not in, though, right?
There are, but very few.
Oh, good. So
yeah.
he's usually in every episode, even when Frasier goes to work and comes home, Niles comes over, right?
Well, yes, exactly. It's such an open door classic TV sitcom.
Yeah.
But I think the show successfully navigates having a main cast, even I would say better than like Friends did, even though they were all equal parts lead characters. Like Frasier, it's named Frasier. Yeah. But they balance every character in every episode so well, even when the storylines don't connect.
Okay.
It's fascinating.
Did they do A and B plots? Did they do like where there are always two plots?
Sometimes there's 3 plots.
What are your favorite? What plots can you remember that were fun?
My all-time favorite episodes happen to always be with when the cast is all together, I would say.
Yeah.
But there's this episode called The Ski Lodge, and that is hands down the best episode.
Okay.
It's all set in almost one setting, and it's the whole series acts as though it's a play on TV. Right. Every episode actually has title cards that's like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Okay.
It's like a Tennessee Williams play or something. But this specific episode, The Ski Lodge, they're all going on a ski trip, and the whole thing basically takes place in one room in a ski lodge. And it's just a British comedy of errors where everyone's walking in and out of doors at the wrong times and, going in the wrong rooms, and you hear screams. And it's so funny, and it's so perfect time. The timing of the show is, whether it's dialogue or physical comedy is like on, highlighted in that episode.
So that one sounds like it's super physical comedy.
Yes.
Like it's a lot more kind of slapsticky. What are the misunderstandings if it's just the 5 of them? Like, because if it's, I mean, none of them are really sleeping.
One would agree, I think. But that one, Niles and
what the hell were they doing?
I mean, Frasier is a stud about town. Like, I honestly miss this, and I'm not being facetious, when men in the 90s were balding and they were absolute studs.
Sure. It was
more relatable. Like, he was the Bachelor of Seattle, and so he was kind of always, I would say, every 3 episodes going on a date. And this particular one, him and Niles happen to be interested in the same woman in the ski lodge episode, and they're trying to figure out who she's interested in. Is she somebody that like works at the ski lodge? Niles always harbors a secret crush on Daphne, so there's like elements of, Niles accidentally walks in Daphne's room and she's naked.
What about his wife? Isn't Niles?
Maris. We never see Maris on screen.
Not ever.
A very interesting choice. We never, ever see her on screen.
12 seasons.
Yeah.
She's never there. They have no children, right?
They do not. No, they have basically first season out the gate. There's marriage troubles, and then by season 2, I think they're divorcing, but it's prolonged until like season 3 and 4. Their divorce. But we only hear about Maris, and good God, what a good name for a character. Maris,
right? Let's never name a child Maris.
No. It sounds like some type of parsley, Maris.
She sounded like she was very much drawn as like the biggest pill in the world.
Yeah,
like she was just a piece of work, and So
she's wealthy too, and
right. So the ski lodge must have been 4th or 5th season.
Yes, I can't remember exactly the season, but it was like Primo, Frasier, and that's
right. They usually they say 3 to 5 are the best seasons of any sitcom. Mm-hmm. Do you think that that's true too with them?
Yes. Shoot, I love them all. I love 3 to 7. 8 is not my favorite. Mm-hmm. And then I would say their last season is almost as good as the best, like the primetime Frasier, which is really rare in a lot of shows.
Super rare, and that's 12.
Yeah. Actually, it was 11 seasons. I misspoke. It was on for 12. Okay. You know how they do, like, it was on for 12 years, but it's 11 seasons.
Right. And so what was, so just keep telling me favorite seasons, favorite scenes, favorite characters, favorite.
Oh, man.
What about guests? Are there any good guests?
Yes. So I remember, it's so funny watching it too with the knowledge that my dad would tell me about those guests, because I went in with a bias each episode. Right. God, what is her name? I can't remember her name, of course. But I do know my dad absolutely hated Michael Keaton.
Oh,
hated
really?
him.
Did not go.
Said
was not a good one.
The biggest jerk on set he's ever met. So much so that Kelsey stopped production and was like, if you don't start being nice to the staff and the crew, we're throwing you out of here.
Okay.
So I personally have a bias against Michael Keaton because of that.
Right.
And it's gotten me into some fights, but
right, because it might just have been a bad week, Yeah. And because everybody has a bad week sometimes, or a bad day at work.
Yeah.
But that is too bad. I mean, because the thing is there's so many people work on a TV show that if you can't keep it together on, you get a bad rep, all of a sudden 300 people don't like you.
Yeah.
And they talk to everyone.
And their children.
And their children. And their hairdresser. And their dentist. And you're like, I don't know if you know this, I met John Cleese the other day.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And you cared about what old people were doing. Anyway, so what else?
Victor Garber had probably my favorite. He played like a butler, which is so fun. They live in an apartment in Seattle. They have a butler. Jesus. But did that last? They had a butler? It was only one episode because Daphne was stopping her buttling, and they wanted to find a new butler. So Victor Garber plays their butler for one episode, and I just remember him being so funny, and then he was never on again, and it was such a misuse because he was so good.
Right.
It's definitely those moments where you're like, what happened and why didn't he come back?
And who is Victor Garber?
Who is he as a person?
Yeah.
Oh man, you would know his face in 1 second. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up his IMDb. I just said IDDB.
Yeah, pull up his IDDB, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make you a co-host on this Zoom. I love to share the power, and then you just share the screen.
Cool.
So then this will be fun for people on YouTube.
Cool. Okay, I'm getting this. Let me do this
and find.
How does one share a screen?
Their green thing on the bottom of the Zoom.
Yeah, the highlighted one. Way to go, Holly.
No worries.
Okay.
See if it happens.
Share screen. Did I do it?
And then you pick the thing you want to share. It should pop up what's on your desktop.
Doing it.
And then all of a sudden, this has turned into a small tutorial about Zoom, you guys.
Okay, I think I'm getting it.
I have the most expensive Zoom account in the whole wide world. It's $2,100 a year.
What?
Yeah, it's insane.
What can you do? What are the advanced?
They take my phone calls.
Oh, really?
Yep. And I can have 9 other people who are admins. So I'm thinking of selling them out for like whatever the $15 a month is that everyone else is paying. I was like, you guys want to call and have them take your phone call? And plus it could be over 300 people or whatever.
Oh, wow. You could throw a lavish gathering.
Right, where everyone talks over each other.
Yeah. Or it goes, yeah, you go. No, you go. I don't think I have screen sharing enabled, and I don't know how to do it. I'm so sorry.
What's his name? Victor Barber?
Victor Garber with a G. Barber with a G.
Right.
You'll recognize him.
Victor Garber, Canadian actor, comes up when I Google it. And, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
He's the guy that looks like every butler that's ever existed.
Yeah,
he's a caricature of a butler.
And he might be British. He might not be British.
But he isn't. He's Canadian.
Exactly. But he plays those like vaguely accented
British
characters.
Kind of, yeah, he's that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. They should have used him again because that guy's I don't know, a national treasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Such a national treasure. We're just finding out his name.
Right. Well, classic though. I mean, the well-kept secret in the world of character actors. It's gonna be that guy.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love. I just think their ability. It's almost like they took British humor and put it in the American zeitgeist in a way that Americans liked. That's what Frasier felt like to me.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was just such a comedy of errors that every episode followed a similar formula, but you never hated it, and you were always like, there was new things they were introducing, like new storylines that they would continue each episodes, but it wasn't like it was still, God, what are the words when it's an episode and then it's done. There's no more story.
Oh, just a one-off, or
okay. God, I don't know how to describe that, but like, I just think that they and like Roz was a really good female character. She was definitely a feminist, and
right, like, and they didn't screw with her too much. Like last episode that I just did of the Dork Forest was about MASH, and so Hot Lips Houlihan and all of the women characters in MASH were discussed, and so my friend Brian, who was on the show talking about how much he loves MASH, he was like, they didn't do great with women on MASH. It wasn't great. And I was like, well, they were busy trying to tell people that war was bad. They weren't
one problem at a time. I get that.
They weren't telling us and so I don't know, because it was everyone was having affairs and it was pretty sexist, and it was, but it was also like they were depicting war as pretty honestly on MASH. They were also depicting sexism and racism pretty well. You know?
Good job.
Yeah, like they cast a lot of people on MASH to play Koreans that were not Korean.
What were they, Italian?
Some of them were anything,
God.
Absolutely everything. Pat Morita was on a couple of different episodes. He's Japanese.
Oh boy.
They were just, it was, they didn't take the time to find Korean actors. It turns out there are so many actors that could have used the work, but
that's Hollywood. It's all incestual.
Yes, but the real, so how did it end? Like, right. I know that eventually Niles gets with Daphne.
Yes. So Niles gets with Daphne. They have a baby together.
What?
Yeah, they have a baby, and I will say the chemistry between Niles and Daphne isn't there. And you wish it was, but it's not.
It isn't. And but it's comedically there.
Yes, like they're both so funny, and the series to me is like a when will they won't they of Daphne and Niles. And it goes, God, what is it? Almost 7 or 8 seasons before they get together, which I loved. I thought that was so smart, instead of like a Friends scenario where they get together and then they don't, and then they get together and then they don't. Because once they're together, they're in love. That's it. They're together.
Right. They're together.
And they have a baby and they have a life. Oh my God. I actually haven't watched the last season of Frasier in the past 5 or 6 years since the first time I watched it, because I'm saving it.
Aw.
I keep wanting to watch it, but I don't want it to be over. So I haven't watched but that's what I remember, Niles having a baby. I believe Martin moves out. Oh, I could be wrong.
Does he get his own apartment? What, does he just start dating? Martin's like 70 years old.
Yeah, but he's, not down there for him.
Right. I guess he's, so he moves out.
You know what? I might be totally wrong about that. I feel like such an asshole because I cannot remember the last season of Frasier.
No worries. I have to say, I get what you're saying about saving stuff like that, because for several years I saved the third book in a trilogy, which meant that I had to reread the first 2 books when I finally was like, was it that great? And it turns out it is that great. And it was the Greg Van Eekhout California Bones. It's set in the site. I'm going to weed off here. So sorry, Holly.
No. I'm ready to write it down. I want a book.
Okay. It's Holly Anabel Brown, by the way, is who I'm talking to, Rangers of the Dork Forest. And you can go to Holly Anabel Brown, 1N, .com and see her stand-up and find her stand-up around. She has a podcast called Well Actually, which might be perfect for Dork Forest fans, Rangers of the Dork Forest, because it's a deep dive into what people love, which sounds familiar and delightful. And it's Holly Brown on Twitter and Holly Brown Comedy on Instagram. So the book that I'm talking about is by Greg Van Eekhout, and it's called California Bones. And there's 3 books. It's a great trilogy. And it's interesting because it takes place in Los Angeles, and it's about magic in Los Angeles and who are the wizards and who controls all the magic. And one of them is a guy named Sepulveda, and another guy is a guy named Disney. And
is there a La Cienega in there too?
There's a La Cienega in there.
Oh my God.
There's like all of the monsters who settled. And like Sepulveda stole all the water, so he is the water wizard.
That the Sepulveda Basin is right behind us. Like
right. And Disney is an illusionist. And it's like that. And all the power that comes from magic in this world of California Bones by Greg Van Eekhout is powders made and tinctures and sort of potions made with old dinosaur and mythical creature bones. So the La Brea tar pits are a big fucking deal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's super fun in the fact that you're just like, oh, California history, and also weird, and then, it goes off, they go up the coast. Guys, they go into Big Sur, and they gotta, and there are dragons, and it's very cool. And so, and they go to Sacramento, and you're like, what are we doing here? And
what kind of creatures are in Sacramento besides just like Ed Hardy wearing guys?
True dinosaurs.
Oh.
And the
governors of dinosaurs.
Exactly, the governors of dinosaurs. But it's very well written, and it's sort of an interesting. It's a weird kind of. It has a real sort of dark feel to it. Anyway. I liked it, but I held off on reading the third one because I liked the first one so much. And now Greg Van Eekhout is only writing young adult stuff. So I tweeted at him, and Andy went to college with him. He went to UCLA with him. And I tweeted at him, and I told him I was saving it, and he said, "Oh my God, don't save it. I'm still alive. I'm writing more books." Please buy my new books. And then I read it and I loved it so much. And I told him how much I loved it. And he goes, yeah, that was when I wrote books for adults and I could swear.
Oh,
Because now he's writing all YA books, and he has to keep it clean.
oh, lame. I mean, I
know.
get it, but
I know, but what 14-year-old doesn't want him to swear?
Absolutely.
They totally do.
like if you saw a dinosaur, you'd say that's a fucking dinosaur.
Look at that fucking dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. Look, there's a Pegasus. And so anyway,
That sounds amazing. I grew up in LA, so I am especially attracted to anything that is like LA centric.
Yeah.
Like the movie Clueless, Encino Man.
right. You just sometimes drive by Circus Liquor and go, that was in 1,000 movies that I saw.
Absolutely. I said Cher got mugged there. She really did.
I have to tell you that when I first did move here, everything looked vaguely familiar.
Oh, good. That makes me so happy.
Just because you're like, is that the high school from Greece? Yes, it is.
Oh, I can do that with my, like, when I'm watching a movie, I'll be like, I know that mall. That's the Sherman Oaks Mall or whatever. And it'll like take me out of the movie because I'm like, is that the Sherman Oaks Mall? God damn it.
Well, then I have a question. Did you see the movie Captain Marvel?
Yes, I did.
Because I have a friend because I get lost all the time in Los Angeles, so I don't know where the hell anything is. Matter of fact, if I am on, you'll be happy to know if I'm on San Fernando Boulevard, it means I'm lost. I'm like, literally, I will be lost, and I'll be like, am I on San Fernando?
That's very high up.
Because it runs the length of, and it's diagonal, and I'm just like, I could be in any number of towns, parts of the Los Angeles area. And so, in Captain Marvel, there's a car chase. He's chasing the subway, when it's outside and elevated at some point. Nick Fury is. And my friend Kevin is always like, those two trains don't pass there. I don't understand. And that's not the right subway, because he rides his bike and takes the subway a lot, and so he can tell where everything's not connected.
I mean, it does feel like, come on, do the bare minimum. Like, that's not how that works. You know, the movie Superbad.
Yeah.
The scene in which Bill Hader and Seth Rogen as cops are taking I think it's McLovin for a joyride, and they're like doing, wheelies and donuts in a parking lot. That's where my dad took me to practice driving, is in that parking lot.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I learned how to drive like super bad.
Hilarious. I've seen almost no Seth Rogen movies.
Wow, impressive.
And well, I think we're the same age, and every time he's casted something, I'm just like, you might as well cast me as a cop.
Yeah.
You might as well cast me as the romantic lead against Claire Danes. Or I was just like,
or Charlize Theron.
It was Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
And Claire Danes, whatever. I think I accidentally saw a movie where Claire Danes fucked the windshield of a car. And I was like, why am I watching this? And I think it was for somebody's podcast, and I will continue to be full of rage that
what
I
a
had
memory
to see that.
to keep with you.
Who wrote The Road? Pulitzer Prize winning book, The Road.
I have no. Is this a quiz? I'm not prepared.
Yeah, we've weeded off completely from Frasier. Hey, Siri,
I'm going to say
who
Greg.
wrote The Road? I'm going to let Siri check. Cormac McCarthy.
Oh yeah, that's a name.
It is. Cormac McCarthy is an amazing sad sack author of dystopian futures, and he wrote a movie that I think it wasn't Charlize Theron. It was the other one. Claire Danes was in, where she fucks the windshield of a car, and you're just like, I don't like you even more now.
That sounds like a Carl's Jr. commercial.
Well, now I want to see that. I would watch a Carl's Jr.'s commercial where Cormac McCarthy's dystopian future, it's essentially, in my mind, and this is a sweeping statement, and that's why people tune in. Cormac McCarthy is the Michael Moore of fiction. I'll be over here now. I'm done.
Dang, get ready for your hate mail.
Bam, it's coming through. What? Tell me more about Frasier. Anything that we've missed? I mean, we're almost at an hour.
I know.
I've weeded off like 4 times on you.
You know, I feel like in a way this was all about Frasier and about LA in film and what it's like to be in LA with film going on. But I actually found something that I think is really funny. My mom has just moved and I went through her garage last week and I found something I wanted to show you and obviously describe via a podcast. But
sure.
I found this envelope and it said letters to Santa Claus. In the North Pole. So it's letters my sister and I wrote to Santa. And so I was reading them, normal, cute little letters. They're all on the backs of Frasier scripts. I thought that was so fun.
Let's go back quickly. And I like that, say that, first of all, your parents did not mail those letters. And second of all, they did stamp them.
I did not even put that together. I'm just pissed.
Did they open them?
I mean, yes.
Were they opened?
It was opened.
So as reference to this is what this child would like for Christmas, don't forget to get her a helmet or whatever she wanted.
Yeah. I mean, what I wanted was
what did you want?
I was too young to write words, where my sister was very eloquent and asked she wanted a piano for me and a flute for my father. I'm assuming she wanted to start a family band. I asked for
the Partridge Family.
I asked for Barbie, Barney, Baby Bop.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. That's what because it's all drawings. That's what I asked for.
There you go. You asked for drawing things.
Yeah.
It's
But it's just I constantly am finding new ways that Frasier is involved in my life somehow. Like I have the finale script all signed by the cast that I just found,
neat.
Which is my retirement plan.
That and the Star Wars poster.
Oh yeah, I've got so much signed Frasier memorabilia that I'm like, I need to hire somebody like as a Frasier assistant.
Did he ever wear anything like that would be recognizable, like the puffy shirt in Seinfeld?
No, I don't think so.
There were a couple of episodes I remember they were in tuxedos.
Yeah,
but I think that was just them
he just
in
wore
tuxedos.
3-piece suits all the time. I think. Casually.
He liked to wear a vest.
Yes.
I did an episode of The Dork Forest and we did it on Zoom, of course, and you have put yourself together, which is nice. And but Greg Proops wore a suit.
Of course.
At least from the neck up. And I assume he was wearing sweatpants. But probably not, because he's Greg Proops and he probably brought the guy doesn't phone it in, is what I'm saying.
I have a suit on from the neck down. Actually.
Oh, weird.
Or from the pants down. Yeah.
Pants down. I'm playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and it turns out if you take off, sometimes you change your shirt, you forget that the whole outfit is the thing, and so now you're just wearing a shirt and no pants.
Absolutely.
And you're out in the square because someone has given you a free shirt.
Yep. You find the lady that sends you on a task to go find an outfit that's like a sporty outfit. Have you talked to her?
I have talked to her. Her name is Label.
Yes, it is.
LaBelle. And she has so far given me a hat, a shirt, and some shoes. And so I put them all on and went back to her. She didn't even make a comment. I was wearing all of the items that she created.
Let me tell you, classic fashion designer, am I right?
She's just like, well, of course you're wearing my stuff. Anyway.
I always feel like her stuff is absolute so ugly. Like
it's super ugly.
She's like, did you want to, she's like, so I've just flew in from, you guessed it, New York. And I just wanted to bring everyone this hot new trend, which is a pirate t-shirt. You're like, what?
There's my Andy, and here now we're talking fashion. This dog, I have to tell you something about this dog, is he desperately wanted to come into the garage with me, but he has been spent the entire time just staring at me going, can we go back in? Any chance? And it's too cold for me to have left the door open. So you're fucked. Okay, so Gordy, get over it. So he's been very sweet, though. And sometimes he just gets up. He's just like, well, then why don't you pet me? Anyway, so I've been slightly distracted during this episode of the Dork Forest.
That's a very good reason.
Very good reason. I was in the middle of a story. Any idea what it was?
Andy? I'm just going to throw names at you.
Sure.
Greg, Andy, Callie Bones.
Have I ever met Frasier Crane? I feel like he used to do stand-up. Did he used to do stand-up, Kelsey Grammar?
No, he was a very theater guy, like Shakespeare. He's similar to his character on the show.
Oh, he is. Oh, well, that's kind of neat then.
Yeah, and they're actually rebooting Frasier. Have you heard that?
No. Who's going to play?
As my knowledge, Kelsey Grammar, his company is rebooting it, so he's gonna be doing it.
Oh,
and I would say
like 20 years later, where's Kelsey?
I don't.
All right,
he's probably owns the Space Needle. I don't know.
Right. Maybe is he even more famous?
Yeah,
that would be.
Maybe he's like Dr. Phil with a TV show. I mean, they tried to do that on the show a little. They tried to get him a show, and then it was like hijinks ensued, like a llama walked across screen or whatever. But I don't know. I have no idea what it's about. It's not in production. I'm doing everything I can to get on, work on the show. Yes, because it's got to. Yeah,
it's a dynasty. It's a dynasty now.
Exactly.
Well done.
But I don't give a crap about any reboots that are ever made most of the time until I know that they're good. But
right. You want to wait. You want to have somebody else kind of clean it up.
Yeah, but this one I'm excited about because I'm just like, you know what? This is my time to shine. I have no connections in Hollywood whatsoever, but I do know Frasier.
You should. You grew up here. You should be some sort of like Hollywood royalty.
I am not.
Very disappointing. I'm sure for yourself as well. You're like, how come I can't turn the? Growing up in Sherman should have done something for me.
Trust me. I wake up every morning thinking about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an hour. I will say this, Holly Anabel Brown, is thank you so much for coming on the Dork Forest.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's one of the signs of the Dork Forest when I talk too much is when I want someone else to like me. So I'm glad you've tuned in to listen to me want Holly Brown to be my friend. So thank you so much for doing the show.
We are neighbors after all, Jackie.
We are. That's right. I'm just straight up north about 3 miles in Van Nuys. So if you go to It's Holly Brown on Twitter, you should follow her, or on Instagram, it's Holly Brown Comedy, and the podcast is called Well Actually. You probably hear that we're a very big helicopter town, Van Nuys. You probably heard that in the background. But thank you so much for doing the show. And Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?